G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And a year ago I reviewed a Suzuki Swift Sport, one of the latest 1.4 turbo ones, and it was absolutely fantastic. In fact, it was so good that it smashed every other competitor on our car park handling circuit. And it's not surprising, it only weighs 990 kilos, it's got plenty of torque from the little 1.4 turbo, but as anyone would know, a car available with a manual transmission 9 times out of 10 is better with that manual transmission. And today, we're here to find out if that's the case with the Swift Sport. We've got a completely stock Swift Sport manual and a lightly modified one. Let's see how they go. In terms of exterior styling, that is one of the big selling points with these cars, because whether you're a middle-aged woman who's just looking for a sporty little runabout, or someone who actually genuinely wants a cool-looking warm hatchback, these definitely fit the bill with all the little carbon fiber trim around the outside, the deep set bumpers, the LED lights, spoiler on the back and big twin exhausts. They are fantastic looking little cars, and certainly compared with like the Yaris and the Jazz, which up until recently have really only had grandma looking models, these look excellent. The engines, funnily enough, are a K series, and you might be thinking, oh, these have got a K20A out of an Integra Type R under the bonnet, but no. They don't, because it's a K14C, not a K20. 1.4 litre double cam direct injection turbocharged inline 4. They make 103 kilowatt and 240 newton meters. So definitely kind of all torque and not all that much power, frankly. They're available with either a 6-speed automatic, no CVTs to be found here, which is great, or a 6-speed manual transmission, which of course both of these have. They're both front-wheel drive, they don't have a limited slip diff, but then again, they don't really make the power to necessarily need it. To my surprise, these actually don't have independent rear suspension, which is usually a trait of some of the slightly more upmarket hot hatchbacks, but nonetheless, they're fantastic handling little machines. And finally, the interior. I must say, compared with a lot of the competition, the build quality isn't fantastic, but they've done a pretty great job of making this interior feel sporty. All of the red trims here on the dashboard and the doors and down the center console here. It's got red stitching on the perforated leather steering wheel and down here on the seats as well. You get inside, and while it's not necessarily the most amazingly built interior with nice materials, it's all just plain black plastic, really, it does look really good. The gauges look fantastic with the needles sitting at the bottom, the mark of a sporty machine. Infotainment system, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is a plus, but it's a very small screen and frankly looks kind of aftermarket, so that part of it's not particularly great. But the climate control knobs down here are very easy to use. In terms of spec, it's got keyless entry, push button start, it's got auto lights, it's got adaptive cruise, which is quite handy, and of course a host of active safety features like road departure warning, which I'll be looking for any possible way to turn them off as soon as possible. Back seat room is surprisingly not bad, but as a result it sacrifices a lot of boot space. These are definitely cars made to be driven and not really designed for putting things in. Let's get out and take this thing for another spin. Driving the Swift Sport manual. Oh yeah. First thing that's absolutely fantastic about these is the gear ratios. My test for a lot of cars is how fast it goes in second gear, and this one will only get to like 85, 90 k's an hour in second before you need a shift, which is perfect because it means you can go down to second through a corner like this, out 90 k's, change up into third, into fourth. You're always changing gears, which just makes it super fun to drive. One of the frustrations I had with the automatic one was that it auto upshifts when you get to red line, and it auto downshifts if you put your foot down at sort of lower RPM, which is annoying because these little 1.4 turbo engines have got so much torque, they often don't need to just ping off the rev limiter to get moving, unlike perhaps a Honda would. But with the manual, you're fully in control, and because it's so light, the gears are so short and the steering is really quick, man alive, on a road like this thing is absolutely fantastic. And the steering feel is great too. Turn into a corner like this, you just know what the car's doing, foot down, up to 6,000 RPM into fourth. Brakes are strong too, it really dives when you hit the brakes. It's quite a firm pedal. Even with the automatic, I was super impressed with the engine and with the handling of the car. But now that it's got a manual, this thing's great, man. Into fourth. Oh yeah, only complaints. The infotainment system is not fantastic. Like my 2014 Skoda has got a far better infotainment system than what you find in this car. And from sources of people who work at Suzuki, apparently they're not the most reliable either. And I feel like it could do with just a little bit more power. Well, let's see if the modified one solves any of my complaints. Well, as you'll be able to hear, this one has a blow-off valve, which sounds really funny. It sounds like a bird tweeting up in the bonnet. And because of the center muffler delete, it is just that little bit louder. Because the car is so light, I suppose it's deceivingly fast. But truth be told, it's still only a 100 kilowatt car. It could do with just a little bit more power. And obviously the infotainment, this one has the same one, so that's no different. I think this one looks a little bit better just because it's a bit lower, a bit more hunkered down, which is quite cool. And the blow-off valve, while kind of silly, I suppose it's quite fun. But truth be told, both of these, with or without the lowering springs, blow-off valve, center muffler delete, they're both absolutely fantastic cars. And to think you can get these for like 15 grand now, like it's a lot of car for the money. You're getting a new, pretty well equipped car with a decent amount of power and, by the sounds of things, a decent amount of modification potential that you can daily drive and get fantastic fuel economy, but then bring out on a road like this and absolutely thrash it down here, and it's just fun. I'm foot to the floor like literally all the time, and yet I'm never speeding. Foot down, accelerate out, up into fourth, on the move, and then still not going that fast, and then you're into the next corner, you know, accelerate out of this. And because the gears are so short, you're always changing gears, you're always chasing that red line. It's just a brilliantly set up car. The package of getting what is a pretty rare commodity today, a manual transmission in a very lightweight, no frills, very nimble little hatchback with enough power to make it fun. Like, no one else is doing this, and it makes me wish that Honda would put the 1.5 turbo out of the Civic with a manual gearbox in the Jazz. And then honestly, I would buy one because it's a Honda, it'll have a better interior, better infotainment system, and because it's a 1.5 turbo, a little bit more power. But sadly, because the 1.5 turbo Jazz does not exist, we'll have to stick with this. But I'm certainly not complaining. It just puts a smile on your face. It is a brilliant little car. And if you bought one, I think you'd love it. Thanks very much for watching, and I will very much look forward to seeing you again next time.